Okay, well now I'm gonna get really weird on the internet.
Hey, that's what it's for. Hey, that's a
Well, so let me preface this by saying that I already like believe I went into my trips with this belief system, and I think that's always important context. I do think that what your predisposition and your who you are matters, when you go into this. But so that's why I said that caveat. But I've always thought or very strongly believe that I'm clairvoyant since I was a little girl, and I've had uh indescribable honestly, I'm trying to think of words for it, spiritual experiences, well, first of all, with like just what I'm seeing. So I'm saying that because we know and we talk about people feeling or hallucinating on streams and stuff like that. But for me, it could have been that, but I already had this belief system, so that's the first thing that comes to mind. I
Mhm.
see all kinds of things, and I do the same thing that I do when I'm sober, which is ignore them usually. Um, but as far as I think, the most important spiritual answer here is when I started doing this, like, or when I really started doing it intentionally, I was seeking something for sure, not just an experience, but I was definitely seeking spiritual clarity. That is an intention that I've gone into, like I said, setting my intentions and doing my groundwork. Like I've gone into trips being like, God, are you there? Can you
Mhm.
show me? And I think I talked about what my belief system on my intro episode, but I do believe in a God or creator. Not necessarily sure if it's the God of the Bible, could be, maybe not. I don't know. I have this very abstract belief system, but it all came really from that. And it's really still hard for me to explain because how do you explain trips, or like that
Yeah.
I know that there's a God or that I had this experience or whatever. So I think that I've been searching spiritually since the day I was about to say the day I left the Haven, but probably the day I got there. And really before that, like I was always searching, and this is the first time in my life, and this experience has so much is one of the few things that I can be like, yep, has to have something to do with it. That I feel a lot of peace. We talked briefly on another episode, I think with Kai. We were trying to like get Kai to try it.
We were really pushing on her.
About we were talking about her spirituality and my spirituality and all that stuff. And I'm truly, I'll say what we were talking about then. I have no fear of the afterlife. I'm not afraid of death at all. I've really honestly been like that. I don't have those thoughts that I think that fear comes from, that a lot of people have about death. And I think that it really, that solidified in me, and that changed after I started doing this regular, or with that intention, or that question in mind. So
Do
I don't
do
know.
you do you believe in an afterlife?
So, yes, but I think that we do this life a few times. I think that that's just me. I know some people are gonna be like, oh no, but I very much believe in reincarnation. And I think, in my opinion, it can go hand in hand with believing in God and religion, because where
Sure.
did God say you only get to do it one time? Where did he say, I made you fearfully and perfectly made one time? He didn't say that. So I don't know. I feel like our consciousness is who we really are, like our spirit. When we say like spirit, I think that's the same. And I think that you come back through with different purposes, and maybe as many times as you need to, and then at some point there is an end, or there is a peaceful place that when you've gleaned or done what you're here to do. I don't know. I just think our world is like hanging, like Kai said, it's so perfectly hanging by a thread, all kinds of little threads. So for me, it's just all too perfect to be totally coincidental, and it goes into
Mhm.
that. But I know that you don't agree.
Oh well, no, I wasn't going to touch that at all. I have a couple
Okay, we
things.
can we can talk about that later.
Yeah, well, I was going to say that the Bible actually does say you die once. In Hebrews, it says it is appointed unto man once to die, and after this, the judgment. So that means, like, I don't care. I mean, I don't care, but I'm just saying, like, it is in the Bible. But and the other thing I wanted to say is about.
I didn't say that I totally believe the Bible is like the word of God either, though. So who said
exactly? So it doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
My God might not be the.
Yeah, it's not limited by the 66 books of the Protestant Bible.
Caveat because it's like, come for me in the comments. So thank you.
Yeah, and so also what I'll say is where you mentioned you believed in reincarnation and how, you know, after we experience this life that for, you know, whatever reason or however mechanism we come back in a different form, different consciousness, or plant life or whatever. And I gotta say, that to me, that is the worst fucking case scenario. Like, I don't know, like what
it's really a rough. It could be rough, yeah.
I mean, listen, I don't know what happens after we die either. I have no clue, but I know what I hope doesn't happen, and I hope I don't have to do this all over again. There's no fucking way I want
that way, but that's just me.
Really? So
it's about feeling that way, but. And, you know, I can think surface level when I think about my job and like, you know, the day-to-day things that suck about life, like I would be like that. But when I think about the profound experiences of having love and experiencing love and receiving love and, you know, making a positive impact on somebody else's life, like I would do that. I'd do this 100 times. Okay. But that's just
yeah, I mean, look, the human experience is filled with, you know, innumerable peaks and valleys that I am glad I got to have this opportunity, but I only want it once.
So maybe you've done it like 65 times.
Please don't say that.
Know it. So maybe that's why you feel that
I know, and that's
maybe
the worst part.
I wouldn't. Oh God, please.
I wouldn't even know if I'd done it so many times. I wouldn't. I'd just be doing it like. And here's the thing: there's no guarantee. First of all, I'll say that every Martin Luther King Day. Dad would take us to the library at Fort Leonard Wood and we would rent this videotape of this documentary. There's like 30-40 minute documentary about Martin Luther King. And we'd watch it every January. And I remember this line Martin Luther King said in there where before he started off on his civil rights campaign, he said that he believed that the way he saw it, life was just kind of wrapped up for him in a Christmas package. He's like, everything was just really smooth and easy. And he had so many advantages that other people didn't have. And I've identified with that for like 30 years now. It's like, man, I as far as your average human experience for the last 300,000 years, I got a fucking great deal. And even with this life, I wouldn't want to do it again. You're telling me I got to come back to some random person that almost guarantees going to have a much shittier life than I had? It's like, yeah, or maybe I don't know. I'll come back as a box turtle or something. No, I just like.
Well, my belief system is that like if you are a shit person, yeah, you're probably going to come. If you do have to come back, you're probably going to come back as like a turd or something because you have something still to learn. You're a shit person. That's my opinion. But if you are like doing like it almost sounds like Christianity. Like if you're sticking by your morals and love and light and being out, you know, outside in the earth and experiencing other humans and the elements and stuff like that, then those are the things that reap a easier or a more positive next experience. Yeah. But this is all Delulu, so who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
It's just shot dark.
Have you ever seen The Good Place?
Is that a show on Netflix with Kristen or the cute blonde girl that's married to Dax Shepard?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've seen an episode or two of it. I can't remember her name for some reason right now. She's also
I can't remember her name either.
Also
Kristen Wiig? But
yeah, good job.
Yeah. Wow, you should watch the show sometime. Like get her now. I watched the show. The show ended like 5-6 years ago, but a friend of mine asked me to watch it. She was pestering me on it. She's like, "You watch it. I was like, find it." And so I watched the first episode and I was like, "Oh, this is good." And I think I watched the second one. So probably like you was like, "This is all right. You know, this is a cool concept. You know, you die and you go to heaven and oh, heaven's actually kind of weird." And so she kept on me about the show and I watched it and it's one of the best written shows I have ever seen. I can't recommend it enough. At least the first season ranks up there with like any season of Breaking Bad or True Detective. But do me a favor, do not read about it, because like you don't want you got to track what's happening, and you don't want to spoil surprises and stuff here and there. It's a good show, folks. So check out the Good Place. But
friend.
Yeah, I highly recommend it. Oh, I gotta do this again. Okay, and so 2014. Look, this is how little research has been done on this. Like
my sister and I have to add a caveat in here for my middle sister that she pioneered this for
she trailblazer.
Okay? She has been on this shit, and she has been telling me that there's like she's been saying exactly what you're saying for years. So it's just funny to hear you say it.
Center's team emphasizes safety as a cornerstone of psychedelic research. Yeah, be safe. Let's see. 2014, Johns Hopkins researchers report that a small number of longtime smokers who had failed many attempts to drop the habit did so after a carefully controlled and monitored use of psilocybin, the active hallucinogenic agent in so-called magic mushrooms, in the context of a cognitive behavior therapy treatment program. I remember seeing this study, and I thought this was interesting that it helped people break their smoking habit, which is notoriously one of the most difficult habits to break. Yeah. And I remember so I bite my nails. I have a horrible nail biting habit, and I've been trying to break that habit my entire life. And I was like, oh, maybe this will help me. But then I remembered, oh yeah, they did this with the help of psychologists. They didn't just start, downing mushrooms.
Yeah,
I know. They didn't just take a few grams every day and get rid of bad habits. No, you still need the psychological help. So you said you gained new talents, Kayla, and learn more about yourself, as we all did. But any habits that you find yourself breaking?
Well, yeah, I think that that's a really good question. I'm about to give you a really sappy mom answer.
Let's go. Oh, you've mentioned this. I know where you're going.
Yeah,
okay.
Like I feel like I really struggled for a lot of years with my short fuse with my kids, and like I'm not gonna sit here and shit on myself as a mom. Like I've always done my best with them, and they're wonderful kids. But I didn't want to be a mom that was like always rushing my kids and always like just on them, and that's definitely where I was before I started getting into this stuff. So every time I do a trip, I try to think about what kind of mother I want to be and my temper and stuff like that. And a huge impact. 4 years ago, I was a mom that yelled every single day. And now and then something I put a lot of intentional work into like, in my day-to-day life as well. But I credit a lot of it to these experiences, is that I'm able to just look at my children and now I can hone in and be like, this is not that big of a deal to me in my head, and get through these moments. And I know it's because of the things I've faced and the work I've done and in real life, but then also in these trips where I've just gotten down to, why am I like that? Where'd I get that from? Why am I so mad at children? They're kids, and work through those things. And now I think I'm not a perfect mom. I'm a mediocre mom on my best day, but I'm a much more patient mom. And that's ultimately my biggest goal in life, is to be the best mom I can and just be as present as I can with them. I'm also, more present with them too. So I think it's had a drastic positive impact on everything about me, honestly. But it's how I mom. And it's not like I know, these experiences are separate from my children and all that stuff, but that's, who I am as a working mother. And so when I go into them, I'm always trying to think about that stuff. I'm not saying I involve my children in this at all or whatever, but it has made me a better parent, doing this in my personal time. So,
yeah, I can. I don't have children of my own, but I can't imagine how it would really make you focus on the dynamic of, your responsibility and your obligation to the next generation that you're responsible for. And the only way I can kind of extrapolate any sort of a similar concept is on a more broad scale, is that I spent a long time thinking about, one, my own mortality. I thought about it a whole lot, like and more than usual, and like you said, not in a depressing way, but just like, hey, clock's ticking. like you're not going to be around much longer. And so and how I treat other people and what I'm doing for other people, because I don't need to do much for myself anymore. I'm going to be fine. And the way I see it, life is brutal. Life is cruel. Life is harsh. It is demanding, and it is just a slog for 99% of people just to make it, day to day. And in a relatively short period of time, we are all going to be dead. Like shorter than you want to realize, we're all going to be gone. I guarantee everyone here has knew someone from childhood who's dead today, multiple people who didn't make it to their 30s or 40s. And knowing that, I just think that we should strive to make life as pleasant and as comfortable and as free of pain and as enjoyable for as many people as we possibly can while we're here. And being on the psilocybin really helps amplify that. And it seems so simple. Like, this isn't earth-shattering advice here. Hey, make life pleasant for people on earth. Not.
But something about it resonates differently in your brain.
Yes.
With its help. Yeah.
Yeah. And when you think about how we got here, just like how human beings, like I mentioned how, comparing my life to any average person, and anatomically modern humans have existed for roughly 300,000 years, and how there's nothing different about you physically than someone who was born 200,000 years. You're the exact same. But that person lived in the African savannah for 28 years before they died, maybe eating a berry a couple of times in their life, like living off grubs and roots, running from lions and shit, and, not wearing clothes, just walking barefoot, just like that could have been you. That could have been your experience, no medicine. Like, you got sick, you died. Sorry, that's just how it was.